The UK government set out to do one thing: cut immigration. And you know what? The policies they rolled out really worked, bringing the number of visa applications way down. But here's the thing. This success has kicked off a huge and pretty unexpected new problem.
Before we get started, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. It helps me keep making more videos like this. Thanks so much. Now, let's dive in.
And this is the central question right here. This is what we're going to unpack. It just doesn't seem to make sense, does it? On the surface, these two things feel like they should be moving in opposite directions. So how on earth can both be happening at the same time? Let's break it down. Now, what's so fascinating is how quietly this has all happened. You know, when migration numbers were going up, it was front-page news dominating every conversation. But now that these policies are having this massive impact and the numbers are dropping, it's happening with a lot less fanfare. A really interesting contrast.
And the government's approach here was pretty sweeping. They didn't just tweak one thing, they rolled out a whole package of strict new rules. We're talking much higher salary requirements for skilled workers and new limits that stop most international students from bringing their families over. The goal was crystal clear: get those numbers down.
So, the big question is, did it actually work? Well, in a word, absolutely. You just have to look at the official figures from the Home Office. The impact was immediate and it was dramatic. Just take a look at this. This is what happened to the Health and Care Worker Visa. Back in August 2023, you had over 18,000 people applying. Fast forward to September of the next year, and that number has completely collapsed to just 700. I mean, that's one of the lowest figures ever recorded.
And it's basically the same story for the main skilled worker visa. See that spike there, hitting 10,000 in April 2024? That was a mad dash, everyone trying to get their applications in before the new, much higher salary rules kicked in. But the second that deadline passed, boom, the numbers just plunged down to 2,700 by September.
And when it comes to the policy aimed at student dependents, wow, the effect was even more staggering. Visa applications for the family members of students fell by a massive 85%. That's a direct result of the new rule preventing most students from bringing their families with them.
So if you look at this table, it gives you a really clear snapshot of just how low the numbers got by September 2024. Across the board, for both the main applicants and their families, the figures are just a tiny fraction of what they were. The bottom line is, if you're just looking at the numbers, the policies are working exactly as they were designed to.
Okay, so mission accomplished, end of story, right? Well, not quite. This is where the whole thing takes a really sharp, unexpected turn. Because at the exact same time that all these visa numbers were dropping off a cliff, something else was happening in the UK economy. Something that makes the whole idea of success a lot more complicated. And here's the twist. 4.8%. That was the UK's unemployment rate between June and August 2024. And not only is that a pretty significant number, the really concerning part is that the trend is pointing upwards.
So what does that 4.8% actually look like in real terms? Well, it means this. An estimated 1.6 million people in the UK are currently unemployed. So think about that. Fewer migrant workers are coming in, but more people already living in the UK are finding themselves out of a job.
And this really lays out the paradox perfectly. On one hand, you have the government hitting its target. Visa applications are way down. Mission accomplished, right? But on the other hand, you had this massive unintended consequence. Unemployment is going up at the very same time that key industries are shouting that they can't find enough workers.
So, what on earth is going on here? How can you have fewer people coming into the country, but more people unemployed? Well, let's try and connect the dots.
This quote really gets to the heart of the matter. The argument here isn't that there are no jobs. It's suggesting that the migrant workers who are no longer coming were filling roles that the local workforce was either unable or maybe just unwilling to do.
And you can see the real-world effects of this everywhere. The NHS is feeling the strain. The prison service has even said publicly that it's struggling to meet the new salary rules to hire the staff it desperately needs. In fact, an official advisory body now lists 82 different types of jobs as being in high demand, cutting across huge sectors like construction, engineering, and, of course, healthcare.
And by the way, that advisory body is the Migration Advisory Committee, or MAC for short.
They're an independent group, and their whole job is to look at the data and give the government impartial advice on exactly these kinds of tricky migration issues.
So the MAC has actually put a potential solution on the table. They've suggested creating a brand new type of temporary work visa. The idea is you let workers come for a fixed amount of time, say 3 to 5 years, to fill those specific jobs where there are serious shortages. But, and this is the crucial part, this visa would not be a path to staying in the UK permanently. It's designed as a temporary fix for the labor problem without adding to long-term immigration.
So all of this leads to the massive question facing the UK government right now. What do you do next? They're really at a crossroads.
And let's be absolutely clear. If you measure the policies against their original goal, they were a success. They wanted the numbers to go down, and the numbers went down. But it seems like in solving one problem, they've created a whole new one. Now the government has this really difficult balancing act on its hands. How do you stick to your immigration goals while also making sure the economy doesn't grind to a halt? And that's really the core dilemma we'll leave you with. How does any government walk that tightrope, controlling immigration while also ensuring that its hospitals, its building sites, and its care homes have enough people to actually function? It's a tough paradox, and right now, there are no easy answers.
You won't want to miss what's next. Subscribe, like, and follow for more updates straight from Bow's News Network.